In 2 days, we should know the answer to the will they or won't they question regarding those proposed district maps for the next decade. Lawmakers will meet in special session on Tuesday, and the Republican majority will have to decide whether to accept or reject the first version of the maps. Plus, we're going to hear from an Iowa candidate who is not the one who became part of the exchange with comedian Kathy Griffin. Hear what it's like for him when so much early attention focuses on someone else. And in the Insider's Quick Six, will the real bold progressive please stand up?
From your local election headquarters, this is the Insiders with Dave Price.
Chuck Grassley is running for an 8th term in the U.S. Senate, and a Hollywood comedian is paying attention. Now, it all started like this. Kathy Griffin had tweeted out to Democratic National Committee Chair Jamie Harrison regarding Grassley's re-election announcement. She wanted to know the options for Democrats so they could try to flip this Iowa Senate seat. Well, there are 3 Iowa Democrats running in the primary for the right to take on Grassley next year. Jamie Harrison mentioned, though, just one in his response, former Congresswoman Abby Finkenauer. Current Congresswoman Cindy Axne also previously endorsed Finkenauer, despite those other 2 Democrats running in this race. Now, Finkenauer is getting much more attention nationally than the 2 other candidates in this race, former Crawford County Supervisor Dave Mulbauer and Minden Dr. Glenn Hurst. Well, I asked Dr. Hurst whether that makes him feel like he is running uphill here.
Yeah, sometimes you do the next right thing, whether someone gives you permission to do it or not. And, we know that as a candidate, I'm new to the public face of all of Iowa, but I've been very active in the Iowa Democratic Party and very active in the Indivisible movement. I'm well known in medical circles, so we just have to get our name out farther. And when people hear our message, they're on board.
So what's it like getting into a primary? People can assume you don't want Chuck Grassley to be United States Senator anymore, right? But you run as a Democrat. There are a couple other Democrats in there. You have been part of the state party with the rural caucus, and as you mentioned, you're part of the Indivisible movement. So what is it like now that, at least for the short term, you're competing against fellow Democrats, right? So
Sure.
What's that like?
Sure, yeah. You want to differentiate yourself as a candidate. We all are hopefully running on the same values, but it's about highlighting the experience that I have. I'm a father, a physician, a business owner. I've worked and lived in Iowa in real situations other than just as a career politician. So I think I differentiate myself a little bit by the experience I have and my priorities.
A couple medical questions here, leaning on your medical background here. This pushback that some in the healthcare field have right now about vaccine mandates, the concept of requiring people to get vaccinated or they have to leave their job, is that the best way to try to get COVID under control?
Well, I think we absolutely should be approaching things from that direction. We've got a crisis in this country, and the vaccination rate has really stalled out. We're seeing an increase in hospitalizations. We're seeing a risk to everyday Iowans who have problems other than COVID, because COVID is backing up access to care. So I think we have no choice but to be aggressive about what we can be aggressive about, and that's COVID vaccination.
Another part of your complicated professional life is you're also a medical director for a couple of nursing homes, right?
Correct.
What is happening at these nursing homes statewide? Not yours individually, but we're seeing documented COVID cases going back up, right?
Right.
Where it looked like those were under control. So what's happening there? How is that getting introduced to the people there?
Sure, it comes back to failure of leadership at the state level. I'd say failure of leadership at the federal level as well, not putting forth the example that we're taking this crisis seriously. And the way that example isn't being demonstrated is we've thrown the doors open to nursing homes. And anybody can come in to visit family members. Anybody can pass through those halls without any real evidence of vaccination or signs that they're not even sick. And we've really got a problem in the way we've instituted access to the facilities. The people who live there, I mean, they should be perfectly safe because they're not going out back and forth. But it's those people who come in that are bringing in the condition. And of course, we haven't required them to be vaccinated. We haven't demonstrated that we believe that masks are useful and necessary. And so that's why we're seeing a second wave.
So those requirements should be in place. You should have to be vaccinated to go visit a loved one?
Sure, absolutely. But we just learned we've got a $1.2 billion budget surplus above and beyond our $800 million. We could put a laptop and or an iPad in every nursing home patient's room so they could have face-to-face contact with their family members and still have money left over if we were really talking about mitigating this problem as well as providing for people's social interactions and interactions with their family. We don't have a government that's motivated to take the right steps.
Is there anything about COVID that you now know you didn't know when this all started?
Sure. What we know is that this is probably going to be a long-term problem. So COVID illness today obviously means fevers, illness, missed work, but it's probably going to mean shorter lifespans for people. It's going to mean more likely having people with earlier onset diabetes, people having earlier onset problems of blood clots, heart disease. We've got a good 50 years ahead of us before we're done dealing with this COVID crisis, and we've got to prepare for it today.
You live in Minden, practice in Minden, 600 people there, right?
Right.
How do you make a go of it? And I mean, this has been a problem statewide, right? That
Sure.
we don't have a lot of rural providers.
Sure, I'm a lightning strike for our community, in all honesty, and it's sad. I can only see about a third of the people in our community because of the way insurance products are set up. I can see a third, the other third are driven away to an in-network provider that might be 45 minutes away and 90 minutes away, and then there's another third that's uninsured or underinsured. So the way we made ends meet is by being more involved in the communities. I do home visits. I'm medical director at several nursing homes. I've been medical director for hospices. And then I use my time to advocate for healthcare change. A Medicare for All system would open up every patient in the community to be able to come to my office if they choose.
So what changes then? We have Medicare for All starting 2 years from now, let's just say. What does that mean for your practice?
For my practice, it means great news. It means that instead of being able to see 200 people in my town, I can see 600 people in my town. And it's great news for the people in my town because it means instead of having to travel 90 minutes for health care, they can travel 9 minutes over to the office and get taken care of right away. It also means more access to things like hospitals and local providers like, let's say, a physical therapist or a mental health therapist in our community. Those people have access to everybody. It makes us a more attractive place for growing our community.
I talked about the primary, but ultimately you want to run against Chuck Grassley, who just recently announced that he is running for re-election again. He doesn't just win, he wins convincingly in his races. Why is that?
Well, I think sometimes it's a case of better the devil we know. And I don't believe that we as a party have really put forth candidates who are compellingly different from Chuck Grassley. People who are willing to talk about the issues that really affect Iowans on a daily basis. We haven't put forth people who use words like Medicare for All. We haven't put forth people who say, look, we've had 40 years of Chuck Grassley and our communities continue to shrink, lose population, and lose business. Where's the responsibility for that? So we need candidates that call that out.
But they've been shrinking for, in some cases, 100 years, right?
No. I mean, there are probably some communities that are shrinking in 100 years.
Counties are.
Yeah, there's some that have. But really, if you look back at our curve, we saw growth up until the 1960s, where things kind of plateaued, and then from the 1980s to the 2020s, we've seen 25% growth or 25% drop in population in rural Iowa.
So what changes that?
What changes that is a system that's brings people into our communities. Hospitals, nursing, schools, those are what people look at when they pick a community, right? When you pick a place you're going to live, you look for what are the schools like? Can I buy groceries nearby? Is there a healthcare provider? Putting Medicare for All in place opens up opportunities for providers across the state It makes your community a place where people could pick to come and have the services they need.
Where have Democrats lost their way in smaller communities?
Sure, I think we've lost our way in that we're not talking about what matters to rural Iowans. Look, we live in rural settings because we like the great outdoors, right? Most of us like to hunt, fish, hike, be outside, and we failed to talk about what's happening to the great outdoors. If I went to a fish fry a few weeks ago, and I was worried about should I eat the fish from the warmer because it probably came from a creek nearby, and I know that the nitrate levels in that creek are high. I worry about shooting a duck and letting the dog go out in the water without first checking the DNR site to make sure that body of water is okay. If we can't talk about those things and share that message to all Iowans, our rural communities aren't a safe place and they need to be changed, yeah, we got to talk about that. That's how you win rural Iowa.
So do you have too many of the loudest voices talking about guns the other way, about eliminating guns?
Sure. We've got to talk about every gun owner, Democrat, Republican, wants every other gun owner to be a safe gun owner, right? So we need to talk about what we all agree on. We want gun ownership to be safe and reasonable. We all agree on that. We just have to deliver the message right.
He'll be back for the Insider's Quick Six a bit later, including his take on what makes a bold progressive. But first, what one employer is doing to try to convince people to move and work in town.